Hey there, friends. It's the first week of 2024, and already the weirdness has started. As you guys have most likely heard, a day or so ago, a 17-year-old at 7:30 a.m. in the morning went into an Iowa school and shot 6 people, killing an 11-year-old boy. The 17-year-old was a former student of the school, and he was a white male. I say he was a white male not because it matters, but because there's a lot of context that you have to take into place here, because the media has shaped this story in a totally different way, because it's not the type of story that they want to share. There's a lot of things that the media is not happy with in this story, and since it involves a school shooting, a shooting actually at a school, not one in a parking lot, not one in the street at 2 a.m. in the morning, an actual shooting that took place during school hours on school property, big deal to them. A lot of money to be made when this happens for the media. However, there's not enough variables in there that satisfy them. First of all, no AR-15 was used. You can tell that the pump-action shotgun was used mostly in this shooting because they only lightly reference that he also had a small caliber gun, which kind of cracks me up, because if you notice how the media, when it comes to caliber, there's either a high caliber gun or a small caliber gun. They never seem to think that anything is a normal caliber gun, right? If it's a 5.56 and an AR-15, that's a high-powered, high-caliber gun. So in my experience with these types of stories and the way the media frames this, this is more than likely a 25, a 32, maybe a 22 caliber pistol. So it sounds like to me the pump-action shotgun was what was primarily used, and more than likely what was used to end this coward's life also, because he did shoot and kill himself on scene after he had committed his rampage of shooting. Now, the things that are really different about this story that the media is not fond of. At first, white male, yay! This is what we've been waiting for, right? As the details come out and they find out that the white male is, quote, gender fluid, oops, protected class. He could be a Nazi for all they care. If he falls into gender fluid, protected class. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he's done. Doesn't matter what he's thought about doing. The fact that he's in a gender fluid protected class, can't touch him. That's why you're not seeing headlines that state white male shoots black 11-year-old. That's why you're not seeing this classified as a hate crime, because this is their protected person. Look at older headlines of similar types of shootings. The media frames their headline not to describe what happened, but based on what they want you to think of that particular shooting. So they take the details. The first thing they're going to come out with, because they don't know anything, school shooting. That grabs the headlines, makes everybody pay attention at that point, right? But as the things come out and they want to frame this story, they start putting it together. The headline is very important to these people. They realize the majority of American people are too stupid to read the story, so the headline is what they're trying to disseminate to the idiots out there who are going to sit there and keep scrolling on to the next story. So that's what they've done here. In some cases, they've even taken the blame away from the person, so to speak. I'm not saying directly, but so to speak, by saying that because he was bullied and because his sisters were bullied, this is why he did it. Almost as if to say, oh, we're even now. The score is 0-0 or 1-1, however you want to phrase it. So many of these stories have blown me away. Now, do I condone bullying? No. If you watch my videos, you've seen me talk about it. You've seen me talk about it in my book. One of the 3 primary factors found in 100% of rampage killings, mass killings, whatever you want to call them, is the fact that the victim was bullied. But that ain't the only reason. They're from bad homes, and they're over-medicated too. It's in the book, How to Make a Monster. By the way, the website for How to Make a Monster is up, howtomakeamonster.com. Yeah, they want to talk about the bullying because now they're trying to say he was bullied because he was gender fluid. This is that violence that they keep telling us that's happening that none of us know about, right? We see these numbers of these trans people pretending to be a different gender, and they're the ones that are attacking each other. They say there's a spike in crime against these people, yet it's them attacking each other. It's their partners attacking them, killing them, beating them. It's not straight people like me that's doing anything to these people. But yet this is a way for them to say, see, this is that escalation in crime we're talking about. They're trying to frame these articles, not that this was a crazy white supremacist white person who had all of these anti-black views or anti-whatever views. Now they're trying to say, we kind of understand why he did it, because he's gender fluid and he was picked on. So what do you expect? That's what the media is doing here. They're basically telling you, we saw this coming. Y'all stop picking on our gender fluid people and they'll stop shooting people. They have completely taken this narrative and turned it upside down. This one blows my mind, because if this person was not gender fluid, and if there wasn't proof based on his old social media posts and interactions with other people proving that he was gender fluid, this would be completely different frame. Remember, this 11-year-old that died, that he shot, was a black kid. White 17-year-old shoots black 11-year-old. That's probably what the headline would state. But they can't do that. They can't, again, protect the class. Don't touch him. Leave this guy alone. These stories putting a blanket over this as if to say somebody had it coming because of what they had done to this person is very, very irresponsible. It's extremely irresponsible to ever give any kind of pass, so to speak, to anyone murdering people and shooting them indiscriminately simply because they were picked on. Was the bullying okay? Of course not. Who believes that? And I don't care why they were bullied. I don't care what the condition was that this person has. It's never an excuse to bully that person. But is it an excuse to go kill people that you don't know? Do you honestly think this 11-year-old boy, this innocent 11-year-old boy, was the one bullying the 17-year-old? By God, he was 6 years older. It's very unlikely the person that he killed was one of the people bullying him. So that is just evil. That is simply evil. You cannot throw a blanket over this and say it's because of bullying. That is an evil mind. That is a twisted mind. That's what they're trying to keep you from. It's easier for them to explain this kid was bullied for whatever reason than it is to say this person had a twisted mind and this is why. Because they have been running from that narrative that the twisted mind is the problem all along. They usually want to blame the guns. In this case, not an AR-15, not a Glock. It's a pump-action shotgun. In fact, it's one that Joe Biden has encouraged everybody to get rid of your AR-15s and get a pump-action shotgun. So the media is freaking out over this. White kid, yay. Oh, darn. Gender fluid. Scratch the white kid out. Protected class. Well, it's a shit. Let's blame the gun. Oh, crap. Our dear leader, Joe Biden, is encouraging people to get rid of their AR-15s and buy a pump-action shotgun. That's what the kid used. Crap, we can't blame the gun. What can we blame? Still not talking about the mind. Still not. They can't blame the gun. So they blame bullying. So this is how twisted they are. The kid made a conscious effort. He made a post on TikTok just prior to this murder. So he planned all this out. This was not a knee-jerk reaction. This was a planned event by this kid. So this kid, in his mind, developed a plan. He had an IED, an improvised explosive device, rudimentary at that, but still, he even had that. So this was a plan that was well thought out. So that means the human mind in this case came to the conclusion, I'm going to kill people. But yet, they still won't talk about that kid's mind deciding that he wants to kill people. Instead, they blame other people's minds. So they're blaming a mind. They're blaming the minds of the people who allegedly bullied this person and taking the blame off the person who made the conscious decision to go kill people based on being bullied. Again, not condoning bullying in any kind of way. Very adamant against that. Again, I talk about it in my book very clearly. So I'm not taking up for anybody who bullied this kid. Shame on you for doing that. And you more than likely are part of the problem that pushed this kid over the edge. Are you the reason why? No. There's other factors that contributed to this. In fact, encouraging a person who has a mental condition to run with it, because we're with you on this one, those people are just as much at fault as anybody that bullied them. That's right, I said it. Every person that bullied them is partially at fault. But every person who supported this person and their mental condition instead of seeking to get them help, you are equally part of the problem. I've said it before. It's no different than having a friend of yours who is schizophrenic and hears people talking, hears words, hears voices speaking to him. And they come to you and say, I hear voices. Do you hear them? That's like you saying, yeah, man, I hear them too. I hear them too. You go, man. Hear them voices. Hear them. Because I hear them too. Instead of telling them, dude, look, let's get you some help. I'm going to help you. I'm your guy. Let's get you some help, man. We're going to find you some help for that, and we're going to make those voices go away. But no, you encourage that. That is literally the same exact thing that we're talking about here. You people are helping to contribute to the problem by not trying to get these people help. Why do you think that they have such a high suicide rate? It ain't because of the mean old people bullying them. It's because nobody is trying to get them help. You are celebrating their mental illness, and they eventually act out like this. The more you celebrate a mental illness without trying to get people help, at some point they're going to realize my cry for help is going unnoticed, so I gotta do something else. And that's how we get here. Another thing that I want to point out is they are bragging that law enforcement miraculously arrived on the scene under 10 minutes. Are you serious? Under 10 minutes. I'm going to be doing an exercise probably in the next week or so that's going to show you, I believe 7 minutes is the exact amount of time that from a phone call to law enforcement arriving on the scene, that's the amount of time that passed. I'm going to show you guys in an exercise. I know we're not stupid, but we're going to do an exercise that shows how long 7 minutes is. That's why we need to harden our schools to protect our youngsters. We keep hearing people talk about Republicans this and conservatives this and gun rights group this. They don't want to protect our children. You people don't want to protect our children. I'm not talking about the gun rights people. I'm talking about these anti-gun people. You have fought and fought and fought to keep these bodies stacking higher and higher and higher at the schools because that sells memberships for you people. What do I mean by that? I mean that you don't really care. These are not your family members and you don't care. In fact, you probably inside, probably not outside, I would like to think you're not saying this outside to one another, but deep down inside you celebrate when children are killed in schools because that furthers your narrative out there that somehow or another the gun is the problem. Yet anytime there's an opportunity to harden a school, to prevent people from getting in that front door, how did this person get inside there? That's one thing we don't know yet either. How did this person get to where they were able to shoot 6 people? A principal being one of them, by the way. It's because these schools are not hardened. In Iowa of all places. But these schools are not hardened. You want to blame the gun? This person had an IED, right? That shows that the trouble and the means and the things, hoops and whatnot, that these types of people are willing to go through to get a body count are high. Yes, was this a failed IED attempt? Of course it was. Bad bomb. Rudimentary bomb is what they're describing it as. At some point, if you make it harder for a person to get a gun, they're going to make these IEDs work. At some point, one will work. You'll remember back at the Columbine High School, they had one, I think, IED downstairs in the cafeteria that didn't go off. And I think another one off-site, I believe. I have to go back and look at that. So this has been tried a couple of times. In fact, this person, I believe, was this Iowa shooter was a fan of the Columbine shooting. Used one of the same songs in one of his social media posts that these people were, that the Columbine people were fond of. My point is, if you ignore the fact that these people are able to waltz right into the front door of these schools, if you are somehow successful at banning guns and suddenly guns don't exist anymore, these people now will walk into these front doors because now you still aren't hardening the schools. You're just taking away one of the tools. Now these people will waltz through the front door of these schools with a bomb, or they go early, or whichever, and they will get successful at setting up this bomb. You want to see a body count? You think a, quote, high-capacity magazine, their words, not mine, is racking up a body count, you wait until a successful IED goes off inside of a school, and you show me which one you would prefer. The point being, if we are not stopping evil from walking into the front door of these schools, the body count is likely to get worse, not better. Something has to be done well before the mind gets to a point where it wants to take people's lives.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
He's over.